It just sounds so nice,
It sounds nice. I thank you because initially, as you know, I was just going by the Lady D. And then I said, you know what? Because somebody had thought another Lady D had been doing something another, and they thought it was.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I thought you were with just that. I was asking the question. Are you the same Lady D that I used to listen to years ago on Barry G show?
Right. So I said, no, the only conversation I ever had with Barry is to answer 2 questions for something. But certainly not to do no show. So how are you, Chris? Hope you had a good weekend.
I am doing alright. I had a hectic weekend, but I survived. So
okay.
Water under the bridge.
Well, you know, once we get under the bridge, we can hold up and manage until such time, right? So all is well in the camp. So this afternoon we'll be talking with Hubert. Or as a matter of fact, I just saw him in a clip I'm playing here a while ago. And we hope to have a great conversation with him. I'm expecting him to call me back so that...
Hello.
Hello. Hubert Lawrence. Hey, Hubert. Hello.
Let's see if we can untie ourselves here.
Are you hearing me? Hello. Hey, Hubert. We're hearing him, Chris. Yeah, but he's not hearing.
But he's not hearing.
Apparently not. Because he called before and we spoke. And then I asked him to call me back. Hubert, are you hearing us?
It's to Lauren.
Right.
Not hearing at all.
I'm not hearing him. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm calling him back.
Hello.
Are you hearing us, Hubert? Hello?
He's not. Yeah, something is wrong with that. He's not hearing it. We're hearing him loud and clear, but he's not hearing.
Yeah. And everything is up here where they're supposed to be.
But you spoke to him earlier.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
it was
because
fine,
he had called.
And then so was
You're not sure
good.
why he's not hearing us. You hear all that movement going on there.
I hear a lot of rumbling in the background.
That's on his
really loud.
end.
But I'm not. Yeah, some background. So.
Yeah, not sure what's going on. However, let's get into. We're hoping that. Good afternoon, everyone. We're just trying to connect him because he's calling us through our Skype line. So I'm not sure if he's having a glitch there, but
trying to connect with the veteran broadcaster, Mr.
Yes, Hubert
Lawrence.
Yes.
Hubert Lawrence from
out of Jamaica.
hoping to sort this thing out so that we can have
a great
a
conversation.
chat. I was listening to the clip that you were playing. Matter of fact, I listened to it this morning. I played it on my show this morning, and it's very, very interesting and enlightening. You know, and
you mean the one I just played with the athletes and stuff?
Yes, yes, that one there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very informative, and I hope that the listeners and they learn something from it.
Yes.
You know, it's
because I had just started playing it, so it had gone about just a few minutes into it. But no, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. So let me go ahead. All right. So we thought we should have a discussion with Hubert this afternoon. Chris, you know what's gonna happen? Yeah, he's calling. Hello? Hey, Hubert.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. There's something going on with it. I couldn't hear you on the other other line.
Well, Jamaica's always airy, so clearly it's on your end. Good evening.
I shall not take that. I have a problem with that. How are you, Hubert? Lawrence?
I'm really well, feeling good, enjoying the warm weather here in Kingston, Spanish Town.
And
feeling good.
And I'm feeling good, enjoying my day after snow weather here in New York.
I hear it's very bad out there. I'm so sorry for you guys.
Yes, but you know, we know how to hold on and manage.
It's a pity we can't put the sunshine in a box.
Right.
Send it to you by FedEx or DHL, and then you open it up where you are.
Absolutely.
Make your life bright with sunshine.
That would have been so good. But it's so nice hearing you. I'm hearing some feedback though.
Yeah, nothing on my side. Quiet afternoon in Jamaica. But let's see what we can do.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear my hear an echo going on. But anyway, I want to welcome you to Inside the Zone with Lady D, Denise Gomez. My co-host is Chris Wilby.
Thank you very much. Great to be on the show.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say what a small world and a coincidence that your cousin Angie, it's just by talking, it just came up. And I said, I know Hubert when I was going to Veer and doing track. I remember Hubert well.
She's a sweetheart.
I tell you, and so she says that, you know, she's your cousin.
I've got a good chunk of family in New York, as well as close personal friends as well, so it's one of my favorite cities.
Okay, good. Let me see if my co-host is on the other line. Chris? Hello? Hey, Chris, are you there? Oh, no, I'm not hearing him. Yes, Hubert. So nice of you to join me, and I just want you to know that I believe you have blossomed into the consummate analyst in sports, track and field in Jamaica. So I just want to say, boy, I know him a long time, and I feel good that I know you because you've been doing an exceptionally good job in all the coverage that you've been doing and the articles that you've been writing and all that. So thank you.
You're very kind, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We want to get into it, but I was hoping Chris would call me back, but we seem to be having a little glitch with another line. But I'm hoping he can call me back so we can talk. But track and field, oh, what a rich history we've had with track and field.
It's huge for Jamaica. It may be that thing that Jamaicans do the best continuously when you think about it from 1948 right through to now. Jamaica has been in the front line of track and field. When you compare it to say like the Grammys, Sting and a Grammy just won by Jamaica recently, Shaggy and Sting.
Right.
That's every year. Million seller records in reggae music and dancehall. A little while gone, but always gold and silver and bronze for Jamaica in track and field since 1948. So that's how good Jamaica is at track and field.
Absolutely. And when we think about the Arthur Wins and all those people who just mastered the track of yesteryear, you know, we say we certainly have a rich history. Now, can you start telling us a little bit about what has been happening in track and field? We are here, we are able to pick up our online news, and we're keeping informed. But as someone in the field who has first-hand knowledge of what's going on there, we know Gibson happened just a few weeks ago, and Penn Relay is coming up, and we know that athletes are getting themselves ready, and we know that you have athletes that have just emerged. There are some schools that we thought never would have. No, seriously, when I think of, and with all due respect to them, I think of Edwin Allen when I was going to Veer. It's almost like you had 5 little athletes coming, and you know they're not going nowhere. And then all of a sudden, they just blossomed and they're dominating the track. So give your perspective.
What's very interesting is that this is now nearly 39 years since the GC Foster Sports College opened. And that college has trained lots of coaches across Jamaica, and some of them have gone back home. The coach of Edwin Allen is Michael Dyke.
Yes.
He went to GC Foster College and went back and joined the staff at Edwin Allen.
Oh.
And has been working maybe 20 years or so at Frankfield, and now the fruits of his labor are being seen. They've won the championships 5 straight, and are looking for 6 overall, and looking for another one this year. And as the season has gone on, they've looked stronger and stronger. We've just finished Central Champs in Jamaica.
Yes.
And then won that again by, I think, 20 points over a very strong Highdale team.
Yes.
But that process of coaches going to GC Foster and studying further beyond that, and going back to places like Petersfield and Edwin Allen, we've never heard of them before. Just like you said, that's a real process growing each year in Jamaica. And so Edwin Allen has the benefit of an outstanding coach,
yes,
lots of space, on-campus boarding as well. And that's the big bit of magic in girls track and field. On-campus boarding, good coaching so you can control nutrition and take good care of the athletes, and they do very well. So Edwin Allen looking good for 2019. You'll see them at Penn Relays too, because they have an outstanding 4x1 team. 43.914 for Class 2. Jamaican High School track for girls, Class 4 the babies. Class 3, Class 2, those mid-teenagers, and Class 1, the oldest ones who are 19 when they finish. And so the Class 2s are very, very good, the best of all time. And when they come to Penn in April, I know the people from New York and will go across down to Philly and have a great time watching that team.
And have a great time. I'm there every year. I've been going several years now, and it has been really, really good. Now, tell me something, Hubert, because we know that, we have to be on par with track and field internationally. So we're considered local, being in Jamaica. You mentioned Mr. Dyke, who went to, what's the name of the school? You mentioned where he's a graduate.
GC Foster College,
GC Foster. Are these coaches in ongoing, for want of a better word, refreshers programs to ensure that they are maintaining that international standard?
The GC Foster courses are indexed to the courses offered by the international sports federations, FIFA for football, IAF for track and field. And so the coaches leave GC Foster and then keep on doing courses in different special areas. Some are hurdle specialists, some are sprint specialists, some are jump specialists. And so someone like a Mr. Dyke would have done numerous courses over the years, and now not only is a master coach in distances and sprints, but also managing entire track teams of coaches, and he has a support coach in hurdles, a support coach in jumps, a support coach in throws, and he glues it all together for Edwin Allen. That is the type of structure at most of the big high school programs in Jamaica. We have a senior coach, who coaches a special area, but he's also an administrator. And along with a team manager, they run the entire track team.
Oh, that's amazing. And I feel good just hearing that. Because when I'm looking, I've spent some time just last night looking at the recaps of Gibson Relays. And I'm saying to myself, oh my goodness, this year at Penn Relays, I'm sure it's going to be magnificent, because when I saw how the students performed at Gibson Relay, I said, they are going to be here literally dusting up the track at Franklin Field.
Yeah, you're right. The last 2 years at Penn have been really very good.
Yes,
2017, wonderful weather at Penn, wonderful weather, and last year pretty good.
Yes.
And that gives, and they put a new track in at the University of Pennsylvania Stadium a couple of years ago. And those three things together, plus the support of people coming in from the tri-state, makes Penn Friday and especially the Saturday great days for the Jamaican team. They've got full support and they're ready to run fast.
You don't talk about the running fast aspect of it. They are amazing. Now tell me something. For some time we also observed that once a student has excelled to the point where they receive a scholarship, they travel overseas, a few of them over time, literally like they just underperformed. They weren't performing.
There's a worldwide trend.
Yes.
Where not everybody who is good when they're young becomes good when they're older. But in the specific Jamaican case, the coaches have to make a careful choice as to where the individual youngster should go.
Right.
If you leave sunny Jamaica and go to ice cold Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, South Bend, Indiana, Wichita Falls, Wichita, Kansas, South Bend in Kansas, then there is a culture shock in some cases. The food is different. The weather is different.
Yes.
In some cases, the child can't take a bus home and go to mommy later on, even if they go to a boarding school in Jamaica. And so not everyone can make that adjustment.
Yes.
And so the choice of scholarship to the States is a critical choice as to where the youngster goes. In addition, some people are early bloomers and they're in the max of their development when they get across there, while others have a lot of margin to go. And if those children make the right choice of where to go and make a good go of it, then you see the Veronica Campbells come up in the US college system, the Karen Stewarts come up in the college system, the Otis, the Bert Camerons, the Ray Stewarts, who all went to America. Herb McKinney went to America in 1942 and blossomed there. So where the children go, and if they are late bloomers or early bloomers, is critical to what happens to their potential down the line.
Okay, and I thank you for clarifying that, because we often wondered why. So that we can understand. Now let's talk about their career. We have seen Usain, we have seen Merlene, we've seen quite a few of them who have literally just excelled beyond even our own comprehension as to how did they get so big. In other words, are these athletes now being trained into thinking that you can make this your career, you can earn from it, you can
Very interesting.
Yes.
Two important points of that question, Lady D. One is that those two names you called, Merlene Ottey leaves Vertech. She's from Hanover, went to Vertech for the last year and went to Nebraska. I mentioned them in the list of places you could go to. She went to Lincoln, Nebraska. While Usain Bolt, a generation later, stays home and joins eventually the Racers Track Club on the Glen Mills.
Yes.
So the first point is that it's possible to be successful in both sets of places. Bolt becomes a superstar training at home. Ottey becomes a superstar training overseas. Was never based in Jamaica. So if the right athlete connects with the right college program overseas, the person can become humongous. If the person stays in Jamaica and hits the right mark with getting the right camp in Jamaica for their individual personality and needs and technique and event, they too can become fantastic. That's two things.
Yes.
The second thing is that Money Track came around round about when Merlinati is turning 30. That's 1990. Before then, it was very difficult for someone to sustain themselves over several Olympic Games because track wasn't paying a lot of money. The American men, Bob Hayes, makes the Olympic Games, wins in 64, and becomes an NFL star. Jim Hines wins in 68. He goes to the NFL because there's no point staying in track for 4 more years, because at that time there's no money. And so now it is much more feasible for someone who is a top 10 person in their event to stay in the sport for longer, because they can make someone, not as much as the NFL, not as much as tennis, not as much as the game you call soccer, football, but enough that the person can make a comfortable living if they're top 10 in the world for 4, 5, 6 years. That's the big difference now.
Oh, okay. You know something? When children say to their parents, Hubert, I want to run like Merlin, I want to be like Usain Bolt. You know, there was a time, if you maybe called the name of an athlete, your parents would say, running can put food on your table, kind of thing, right? But that has changed.
It's changed a bit. I remember, your grandmother would hammer it into you. All that running up and down is going to be the ruination of you. Go and study your book.
Go study your book.
And a lot of children, back and front, top and bottom of Jamaica, were told that. But now, you can make a reasonable living in professional sports that wider in range than just what we know as football, what you play there, the NFL. Those sports are big money sports, but track and field, not as big as NFL and football, not as big as that. But you can make a decent living, and some of the guys do, the top people do.
Yes. All right, we're covering all our bases this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, 25 minutes after 6 o'clock. The show is brought to you by Cooler Runnings Jamaican Restaurant, 1802 Nereid Avenue in the Bronx. Give them a call, 718-324-7484. My guest is Hubert Lawrence. He's our sports analyst here on the show, Inside the Zone this afternoon. He is speaking with me live from Jamaica, and we're so appreciative. I do apologize to my co-host, Chris Welby. Somehow we're having some technical glitches connecting Chris to our other line. Hence, he's not able to be on the call with us, and that just bothers me. But we're moving the show along. I do have some of his questions, Hugh, so I'm going to pose one of his questions to you.
Sure.
His question is, what are some of the problems facing track and field at the moment, and what, in your opinion, can be done to solve these problems?
Jamaica still needs more and better facilities. Most of the facilities are still concentrated in Kingston. There is a synthetic track in Montego Bay now under repair. There is one in Spanish Town at the GC Foster, and all the rest of them are conglomerated in Kingston.
Right.
A lovely one opened 2 weeks ago at Jamaica College. Beautiful location, Ashenheim Stadium, named for the family making the major donation at Jamaica College.
Okay.
But still, there needs to be a spread out to the east in St. Thomas and St. Mary and Portland. There's nothing on the north coast until you get to Montego Bay, nothing in St. Anne, nothing in Trelawney, nothing around the corner, Hanover, coming back around to St. Elizabeth and to Manchester and Clarendon. And so there still needs to be more in the way of facilities. Funding is always something for all of the teams and the schools. And in many cases there are US-based past student bodies who help with the financing for the big school programs, and there needs to be more. The younger schools, your Petersfield, for example, may not have as much of a big, prominent past student program, and therefore those schools need people to step in and help out to give them the things that they need to build up their programs. Typically, the high school program has some sort of funding through the pen relays, and for those youngsters who are going forward to international age group meets, World Under 20, World Under 18, Pan Am Under 20 this year, it's harder for them to get financing for that smaller group of youngsters who keep going past the pen relays and past champs.
Right.
But funding and facilities. GC Plus is supplying coaches. There is built up expertise in managing teams and managing young athletes. Greg Horton has been in Jamaica the last few weeks, championing the cause of mental strength, preparation for mental strength. So people can stand up to the stresses of representing themselves and families and their countries. And so that's an area that's going to emerge in the next few years, I suppose, because Greg is really championing that cause. He was Olympic bronze in the year 2000. He's come back now. That's his area of specialty, mental preparation. And for a small country, you have to have people strong enough to take the stresses of being top level competition. But on the plus side, now, more than ever, the young Jamaican athlete goes to a track meet, like on Saturday, they were maybe warming up in the Stadium East field.
Yes.
And they're warming up beside Sheldon Fraser Price.
Wow.
They're warming up beside Elaine Thompson.
Yes.
They're warming up beside Asafa Powell. And so they can see what they could do if they made the right moves and worked hard. And I think that has countered some of the lack, some of the resource downfalls that Jamaica has over the last few years. Youngsters can see their heroes and can see what they could become if they worked hard.
All right. And speaking about managing teams, because Chris also had another question for you, because we have observed over time that whenever they travel overseas for an event, there is some breakdown in the camp. We're not sure if it's a case where the teams are unmanageable or it's just their ego, but something seems to happen and it becomes public.
It's not every time, but there have been a few times, and I think that the athlete who is chasing the high-end goal in every sport can become high-strung. And sometimes that can come out in the ways that we hear publicized.
Yes.
And I think the work that Greg Horton is doing will lead us down a road where we understand, like a science, how to room people, exactly how to talk to each individual so they can get the best out of themselves at a championship, how to prepare them not just physically but mentally as well.
Yes.
And so some of the things that you read and hear, there was a bust up in London at the World Championship. I wasn't there, but I just feel like these are two competitive people, high strung, and when those nerves are bared, then you get a blow up. So the two ladies on the track on Saturday in the stadium looking cool as ever because the pressure's not on.
Right.
And maybe competing for the same space on the podium, and that's pressure. But I think we do have some way to go with respect to mental preparation. We do have some way to go with respect to that part of the preparation and the organization. When the pressure is on, that busts the pipe. And so we have to prepare for that and get people ready for how it's going to feel when the lights are on you.
I'm having such a good conversation this afternoon with Hubert Lawrence, and Hubert is one of our veteran sports analysts in Jamaica. Now, I'm actually leading up to another question, because Hubert, I want to know, I know you've loved track and field from I was in high school doing track and field. And you're still young, but I wanted to know, now that you've gotten to this level, what is it that drew you so much? Because I find that when you're doing your broadcast, it's almost like, it becomes second nature, but certainly you have to prepare. But what is it so much that keeps you going? Because here you are covering all these events, and I'm sure there are athletes who are looking on you as well. They might say, I want to take his position one day.
I tell you what, my lifelong occupation is public relations.
Yes.
Which feeds a related set of skills. I had wonderful English teachers at San Diego, elocution teachers, English teachers.
Yes.
And I love the sport. And I think those things have come, the related skill sets, the love of it, the good preparation by the teachers at San Diego. I think those things have come together I've been fortunate to get some breaks at the right time in every area of my life, and I enjoy myself. And I think if you're going to pursue anything, in my case, public relations and this other area, you have to love it. You have to enjoy it. You have to be prepared to go out of your way to do it without it feeling like a strain.
Yes.
Gibson marks the midpoint of the high school track season, and the first part of the season is trips out of Kingston, trips out to Mandeville, to Kirkman, Williamsfield, trips out to Montego Bay for the Western Relays, trips out to Maypen, to House Hall, not far from Vertec.
Right.
Trips out to locations outside of Kingston. We go to Stets for the Stets Invitation at Santa Cruz. You only do those things if it's something you enjoy. Yes. I also like to drive in the countryside of Jamaica. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. I used to go every year to Morant Bay, to their relays.
Yes.
I drive down the coast from Old Bay up to Morant Bay is a beautiful drive. And those things are a benefit, are a plus. You get a chance to do that and enjoy yourself watching the sport you enjoy. So that's why I think I've stuck around. I've enjoyed it.
Right, and I know that your co-host, Juliet Cuthbert, has also been, wetting her feet in
it's been a pleasure
area as well.
To link with Juliet. She's now in Parliament.
Yes, she is.
A member of Parliament now, but she brings to the discussion in-depth, first-hand experience.
Yeah.
It's something that you cannot feel unless you've been there to the level she's been there. And so when she makes a comment, there's sometimes that with Gillian Russell, she's in Florida these days, a teacher, former World Junior Hurdles champion.
Right.
I've had some time to work with Ray Harvey, CSC Hurdles champion in '66, former KC man. Gillian is champion, of course. Gillian is Morant Bay and Texas in Austin.
Yes.
All of them bring to it in-depth knowledge about how it feels to be out there with people like Hubert looking at them, picking their every move apart, and how do you go inside and focus and bring out the best performance that you trained for. And so Juliet is also outspoken. She's clear in her thoughts. And I think that gives her an edge when she's on air.
Yes.
It's a real pleasure to be with Juliet when we're on here together.
Yes, I've heard you both in your live broadcast, and I'm like, listen to the two of them doing their thing.
I think we have, I think we're friends. And I think there's a chemistry that comes with that.
Right.
And I think that makes it run much more smoothly.
Much more smoothly. Hubert Lawrence, we'll be wrapping up in a few minutes, but I've been garnering so much information from you this afternoon, as well as our listening and viewing audience on Linkage Radio 104.5, 101.7, Sign FM 88.9, and Fever FM 97.7, as well as those who are streaming live on our Facebook page. Good afternoon to everyone. I also want to ask you, Hubert, that of all the athletes now that you have seen, and they are preparing for Penn Relays, and who do you think stands out the most? Because there's always going to be an athlete.
Yeah, there are.
Yes.
On the boys' side this year, this will be the last time to see running as a high schooler, Christopher Taylor of Calabar.
Okay.
He's been outstanding since his class 3 days. He's been world under 18 champion at 400 meters. He's been world under 20 silver at 400 last year. He is tremendous. A nice young man as well. Captain of Calabar. And I think if there's one person, maybe to Wayne Pinnock of KC, the long jumper, looks like this year he's going to jump his way to the senior team at the World Championship. So on the boys' side, maybe two boys. Pinnock of KC, the long jumper and hurdler, and Taylor on the boys' side, the Calabar captain. On the girls' side, Edina is bringing along quite slowly and in a measured way, Kevona Davis.
Okay.
She is alongside Brianna Williams, who is in Florida, in the United States, with Otto Borden. The two of them together represent very bright hope for Jamaican women's sprinting. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of depth. Elaine Thompson is just 26 years old. These two young ladies are just about 17. Brianna turned 17, I think, in April, and Kate is 17 already. Mm-hmm. So in that 10-year span, there's lots of good people in between them. Mm-hmm. So when you come, Elaine Thompson still young, could go to Tokyo and maybe to the 2024 Olympic Games and still be world class. Yeah. And these young girls, I think, of the people who could come to Penn, but Fiona Davis and Lynn Allen, her 4x1 team, and those two boys, Chris Taylor, Will Pinnock, might be the 2 or 3 children that we want to watch closest of all at Penn this year. Those are 3 must look out for the most.
Okay. Well, I tell you, our heads are literally spinning with information this afternoon. Yeah. Because, while we're over here, and again, we're reading online and so on, but having this conversation with you this afternoon has opened our world up to what we're actually missing out on. Because
and one last thing, Lady D, I think one of the concerns of the Jamaican fan as well, at home and abroad, is that with the passing of the Usain Bolt generation, will Jamaica be up in the spotlight again, and how long will it take? Yes. And I think that Jamaica is birthing a team that will be very, very good in 2020 in Tokyo. Mm-hmm. There are lots of youngsters, Janine Russell in the hurdles, Schmeichel and Dacus in the discus, Daniel Thomas Dodd. She went abroad to school in Ohio at Kent State, while Dacus and Schmeichel stayed in Jamaica and became world class in the discus. Odin Richards, the shot putter, is coming back up again. He was world champ bronze in 2015. I think even though Bolt is gone, I think the overall depth of this team that's coming together now is going to be so wonderful that Jamaica will do very well in Tokyo next year at the Olympic Games.
Absolutely. Because when you think of Usain, when you think of Merlin, when you think of Asafa, when you think of Don Quarry,
it's a fantastic history.
It's a fantastic history. And at no point have we ever been literally scrambling to find.
No, and I think we're on stronger footing now because of that. GC Foster movement of coaches that has spread expertise outside of Kingston. So now there's a young boy who is in class 2 at Lacovia, Brian Roach, who is among the favorites for championships at the class 2 200. Lacovia, which I think was a secondary school when we were younger, and now is a high school, and now has a good coach, and these are qualities coming out of Lacovia. Right. Petersfield has Shakina Foote and Antonia Watson in Petersfield, which I think was a secondary school before.
Yes.
And so now they've got a good coach out there. Kobe has a good coach. Eastern Champ started today. There's some good coaches at St. Mary's High coming forward again. They were girls champions twice in the 1970s with Jackie Pusey and Doreen Small and those people. And they're coming back up again because they have in their history a tradition of excellence that someone has gone back and started to touch it again. And so that's what makes Jamaica special for the future. That there's a spread of coaching knowledge, there's a spread of interest in the sport across Jamaica. There are lots of meets every Saturday because 1 week per Saturday can't hold everybody.
No, understood.
We go to Kirkvine. Kirkvine is jam, but in Spanish Town, the Doug Forest meet at GC Foster is also a jam. That's what it's like in January and February in Jamaica because lots of interest from the schools and lots of interest from the youngsters.
And I just you might not be able to answer me because maybe you know, maybe you don't know. But when I went to Veer Technical, we were dominating.
Yep.
Especially, girls champs, We were dominating, and over the years I realized that they are not as strong as they used to be. And, you've had these schools that have emerged and are just burning up the track. I've been wondering to myself, what happened here?
I went to the funeral of Ben Francis last year, Colonel Ben Francis, at Upper Camp. It was the end of an era. He represented innovation at VERTEC, foundation master there.
Oh, yeah.
And I think VERTEC has to go back to the systems he put in place. There's lots of VERTEC out there in Jamaica and in the States. They've got to come back together and rebuild that program. It's very important. But because VERTEC is not the beacon it was before, Evan Allen, Homewood First, moving that VERTEC model, on-campus boarding and coaching and coaches per events and so on, and sometimes training, I reckon maybe twice a day. They rose and won 9 straight at 10 over with Maurice Wilson.
Okay.
And now Michael Dyke, using a similar model, is rising. They've gone 5 straight at Evan Allen, and so VERTEC can come back. It's a great program, and there are lots of VERTEC out there who know what it took to win back in the 70s and the 1980s and into the 1990s. 15 straight girls champs, so this is Veronica Campbell's school.
This
is Otis School. This is Dion Hemmings' school. This is Dion Rose's school. This is Bev McDonald's school. This is Michael McDonald's school, Michael Blackwood's school. I mean,
Albert Lawrence.
Albert Lawrence was in Gilbert Games in, I think, 1984
1980. So I am saying to myself,
love her.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for a younger generation VERTEC graduate who to come back to VERTEC, whether in person or via Skype, like we're talking now, get in touch with VERTEC on the ground and start to build up VERTEC. And it's tournament to VERTEC. She was honored at VERTEC recently at the Ben Invitational. So it's a great school with lots of good people out there. And I think it won't be long before those people decide, no, this is not VERTEC struggling to score 100 points. We can't make this happen. I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I tell you, I've had a great eye-opener from you this afternoon, Hubert Lawrence. And can I say you have really changed much? The same way I used to see you in, when I was going to school, and the same way when you bucked me up in New Kingston after I got older and working. It's so...
I think I'm just about the same.
Yes. It's so refreshing to have this conversation with you, and I'm wishing you all the success. And I'm sure, are you into mentoring? Are you mentoring young people?
There are a few youngsters who I talk to quite a bit. I speak to high school track teams when they want me to come. Not just St. Jago, but others. Certainly been to St. Catherine a few times, other schools, St. Andrew a few times, because I think if we turn our back on the young ones, then they may come back and bounce back at us because they need our guidance.
Yes, they do.
We have to be available to them to offer it.
I agree. Well, it was certainly my pleasure having you on my show this afternoon, Inside the Zone, and I'm so sorry that we weren't able to connect my co-host, Chris Wilby.
Looks like you can't keep 2 men, so we know you're a good girl.
Oh Lord, thank you. Yes, so I just had to stick with one. Lord,
sorry, Chris.
Right. Yeah, so you bumped him off, but that's all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'll be gone now. You'll be okay after that.
Right. But thank you so much, and we're so enlightened, and wishing you all the best in your career. And certainly when next I see you, I'm like, Hubert, and we can do a high five and all that good stuff. You'll be here in April?
Yeah, it really is. When it comes around, expecting to be there.
Okay.
And so looking forward to that. Special love to Angie, my family out there, and I'm very sure Teddy Bailey may be listening as well. So all the best to everybody out there.
Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
Well, good.
Okay. I wish you sunshine in New York.
Thank you. All right, take it easy. Bye-bye. All right, that was our sports analyst live from Jamaica, Hubert Lawrence. And I would like to just say, to all those who you have friends and family and you know that they're children and they're part of the track and field life in Jamaica, it is thriving. Go online, take a look. Google, YouTube, we are there, and you can see all the activities that are taking place in Jamaica. What a positive thing it is. I could actually have this conversation with Hubert via Skype, audio. We could have done video if we wanted to. So information is available, and no matter what, we are trying to touch people one step at a time. I'm apologizing once again that my dear Chris wasn't able to be on the call. He attempted several times, but I knew that if I had picked him up, then I would have kicked Hubert off. And you know, it's one of those decisions. You hear Hubert joking in background, but I'm so sorry, Chris, but of course you'll see the live clip. And just wrapping up on Facebook to say thank you, Facebookers, for stopping by, and I'll be posting the recording of our discussion with Hubert this afternoon, and the show wraps up in about 11 minutes. So I'm looking forward to the wrapping up segment. And for those of you who'd like to call, if you have your comments and all that, you may call me 914-600-4228. 914-600-4228. Track and field is bustling, literally, in Jamaica. Thank you for joining me. I'll be posting the video, so you'll have the opportunity to watch at your leisure. Have a good Monday evening.